You're listening to the Roofr Report. Tune in for exclusive interviews with roofing experts and insights from leaders who walk the walk. Grow with Roofr, and your host, Pete McKendrick.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Roofr Report podcast. I am your host, Pete McKendrick, and I am joined today by Juan Rodriguez. So Juan is our August Roofer of the Month. We have this ongoing, this ongoing initiative where we're showcasing a roofer every month that is a fan of ours and that we are a fan of. And so we're excited to have Juan here as our Roofer of the Month for the month of August. So welcome, Juan.
Hey, thanks, Pete. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. I appreciate you guys giving me the initiative to partake. And my name is Juan Rodriguez. I'm with Salus Exteriors. We're a new up-and-coming roofing company in the Houston, Texas area. So we're here to provide as much exterior services as possible.
Nice. So we've had a pretty common theme here with our Roofer of the Month. A lot of new companies, a lot of new startup companies that have been finding a lot of success really quickly, doing a great job of getting up and running and finding success very, very early on in the career of the roofing company. So give a little background on yourself, Juan, how you got to where you guys are and how long has Salus been in business and what is your background? How did you end up in the roofing industry?
Yeah, so Salus has been around since the beginning of this year. We started this year. I've been in the roofing business for some time. When I used to live in Florida. So Florida roofing, I learned quite a lot. I'll say that. You get to learn the hard ways and the good ways. You get to meet some great people. I worked mainly just roofing. And then I moved here to Houston pre-COVID. While I was here in Houston, trying to find a job in the COVID time was a little bit difficult. But good thing I had a degree. I have a degree in marketing and economics. So I worked in the corporate field for a little bit. And that got me to think, look, I can open my own company. I can be the owner. And what I didn't like from previous companies, I can make sure that my customers don't get that negative impact. And I can make sure I can train my guys and have them understand that this is a great industry. There are a lot of companies just like myself, our companies that are doing the right thing. And that you can be known for being the right go-to person.
Yeah, it's a great two tough markets, obviously, right? Like if you're familiar with Florida, Florida is a very, very tough market to be a roofer in. And
Yeah.
Texas is probably one of the toughest as far as competition and
Oh, yeah.
just the sheer number of roofers. I remember being I think I was in Dallas and a contractor told me that there was 7,000 roofers in the city of Dallas. Like within the city limits, there were 7,000 roofers.
Oh, yeah. I think greater Dallas, so Dallas Fort Worth area, you're talking about 10,000 plus.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's huge.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. Every one of those companies, they have a thriving business. At least a successful or somewhat successful business.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy that there's that much work to go around.
Yeah, there is.
Nice. So you guys started earlier this year. That's awesome. How has business been for you guys since you got
business? Yeah, business has been great. Unfortunately, the city of Houston has suffered through a lot of different storms with the last 3 months. But we're in this business we can't stop the storms, right? Nobody can stop the storms. But we are in this business to make sure people need a good service and they get the best service possible.
Yeah. So you guys just had a hurricane, correct? Come through there?
Yeah, we had a hurricane last week. The city was without power. I'm still without power in some areas. There's some people that are barely getting their power back. I had my power back last Friday. So it was about 6 days off without power. It was a little brutal, but I think that there's a lot of work. We haven't stopped. I'll be honest with you. We haven't stopped since March. There was hail. There was a hailstorm, a couple hailstorms. One in March, one in April. There's a tornado that went by in May. It's just been catastrophic, a little bit of catastrophic. I'll say that.
Yeah. So now what makes up your business? Are you guys doing retail and insurance work? Or are you doing just predominantly insurance work?
So our biggest thing is we would like to focus ourselves at 50-50, not just rely on one side. We know that the insurance market is great when insurance pays. We know that the retail market is great when we have a great connection with the clients, and we can't just stick to one or the other. We go for both. And as of starting in October, we're going to be starting new construction as well.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yes. So a little bit of everything.
Nice.
Maybe it's in the plans, it's in the works for next year to start a commercial side. So I know I don't like to start anything too quickly and grow too quickly because that's when headaches come around. But if there's one thing I learned, if there's an opportunity knocking at your door, you have to open it and not let it go to waste.
Nice. Now, how many people do you have working for you? What is your crew made up of?
So we have different crews. We have about 3 different crews comprised of 8 at the most each crew. So between 6 and 8. We have a few people in the office and myself as sales. Right now, I'm down to myself to sales.
Yeah. Nice. It's great
Yeah.
starting out. Yeah. So
Sales
what?
is it's a very difficult part of our business. I'll say that.
It is.
Maintaining sales reps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any company, I think, goes through the same course of training, sales, retention, and it's not for everybody, but it's very beneficial when that person understands, learns, and gives the time.
Yeah. So how are you guys approaching sales? Are you guys door knocking? Are you guys running ads? Like what kind of marketing are you doing, if any? And like
Yeah,
how are
so
you getting leads?
when it comes through, we're pretty big on this digital marketing. We are running leads. We are running online leads, mostly through Google. I will say this: some people abstain from using apps like Angie's List, Thumbtack, or some of those, but we don't. Leads come through. We're not going to say no, and we've been able to gather some great clients and great referrals from those clients coming from a vast array of apps.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny. We see both sides of it. We see some people that start out and just focus all their energy in one spot when it comes to marketing, and some like yourself who diversify across the number of places and give themselves a ton of opportunities to grab leads up. So
That's
I
right.
think I think a market like yours, it makes more sense, right? Obviously, because you guys have a lot of competition there. So
Oh yeah.
having as many opportunities to gain leads, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, but I'll say this. One of the things that we're really focusing and narrowing down right now is events. So we go maybe sponsor an event, get to meet some great people within the industry, or I just had a great event, a sales training event that I partook yesterday with 40 plus realtors. So just showing them and giving them a little bit of training on roofing and what it encompasses and how they can use that roofing knowledge, use it as a tool for their clients, for their
Yeah.
buyers or sellers.
This is a great topic because we often talk about becoming the neighborhood roofer. Nick and I do a roofer masterclass every other week. And a topic that always comes up is how do you become that guy in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
How do you become the guy that everyone knows?
Mhm.
Our July roofer of the month was Ben from Roof Tiger, and he does an incredible job of being like that neighborhood roofer. He's in a small town, Peoria, Illinois. He's got these tiger striped trucks, and his branding is over the top, and it works, right? Because everybody
Yeah.
recognizes him. He's like the neighborhood guy. And I think it's such an overlooked thing, and simple stuff like what you're doing, like being out there in the community, participating in events, sponsoring things.
Yeah.
It's so important to get your name as like a household name, right? And you become recognizable as like the guy.
Yeah.
And I think that that's
Exactly.
like a pretty easy pull, right? Like it's a pretty easy deal to just, like you said, you get to go speak in front of all these realtors. Realtors are out there looking and selling houses every day, right? So they're the perfect
Right.
candidate for
And the
you to be
great thing
partnered
about
with.
that is that it's word of mouth. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's word of mouth too. How
exactly.
many people do realtors get to speak with and that they can drop our name? Hey, you can visit Sal's website and maybe get some of the services that they're requiring to sell a home, maybe to do some fixer uppers or whatever. It's a real great tool to be part of the community, to be part of a team aside from your own company where you can provide this knowledge, you can provide some training, and at the end of the day, brand yourself as a professional.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's an important thing to know. What you said, it's the word of mouth piece, right? Because still to this day, after all of social media and everything, the number one
Mhm.
performing lead generator for a roofer is still the referral, right? It's
Oh
still that
yeah.
word of mouth referral. So, and
Oh
most
yeah.
of the time they're a slam dunk, right? Like most of the time they're essentially a
Yep.
sold job. So we often talk about the customer experience and like you talked about, all the things that you saw other companies do. that were creating a negative experience for the customer, you're able to fix and create this positive experience for the customer, because all of that stuff leads back to producing that referral and producing that word of mouth for you guys, builds that reputation. And so it's a genius way to produce leads, because it's also the cheapest, right? It's really
That's
most
exactly
networks
right.
are the
Yeah,
cheapest.
it isn't the most expensive. Some of it, I'm a big believer that time is more important than money, or more important than anything else. So if you look at it, anything that values in time has its cost, right? If I have to go speak 2 hours at an event, there's some time that I could be selling a roof, right?
Right.
So maybe if you look at it that way, that may be more expensive than just paying some ads, but it makes the most impact, in my opinion. It really does.
Yeah, and I think it's more of a long-term play, right? Like you said, you're
Exactly.
developing those relationships that, like you said, you spoke in front of 40 realtors. Now those 40 realtors are going to go out. They know who Salus is.
Exactly.
They're going to spread the word for you. And it's really a long-term effect, a ripple effect that
Absolutely.
you wouldn't have maybe necessarily with an ad that runs for a couple days. So
Exactly right. Yep. Yep.
yeah, so really a
And it's a
smart play
great
to,
niche.
yeah,
I love getting in front of realtors, because they understand how we sell, because they sell very different, very closely. They kind of closely resembles our sales strategy. All customer, provide a great service, be the professional, understand the needs and wants from the customer, and it aligns. So they understand our language, just a different roofing terminology that they have
yeah.
to know.
No, it is very true. I actually have my real estate license and I went through all the training and everything. And it's
Awesome. So
funny
you know
because,
what we're talking
yeah,
about.
when you sell a house, it's very similar. Like you're very, very much selling the relationship, right? There's a trust factor that
Right.
you have to build there,
Trust.
just like as a roofer, right? And like you said, they parallel, the sales processes parallel each other very closely.
Yep.
So they can very easily relate and it's a
Oh
huge
yeah.
part a lot of times of selling a house is the roof. Like
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
becomes a huge factor in selling a house a lot of times. So I can tell you that I've used our own people at Roofr before to call them and say, "Hey, what do you think this roof is worth?" Trying to sell this house, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so it's
And it's also like a part of giving back. So it's not just about the brand. It's not just about meeting new people, but giving them this tool of understanding the roof and how they can best mold it to their clients, so they can make a purchase, or maybe ask for some money in from the seller and make the sale close. If I'm able to do that, I'm providing value, right? That's the
yeah.
whole game in roofing. It's providing value.
Yeah, Nick often talks about in our master classes about the education piece and how
Mm-hmm.
like even our proposals, when you're a roofer, when you're presenting a proposal, to use it as a piece of education for your homeowner. A roof is not something that
Yeah.
most
Oh
homeowners
yeah.
know a lot about, right? So you're doing the same
Mm-hmm.
thing, but for your community. Like you're going out to these real estate agents and giving them a little bit, educating them a little bit on the roof itself, and a quick, better understanding for them, something that they have some talking points on and they can
Oh
sound a
yeah.
little bit more versed. It's only going to help them when it comes to selling a house. So
Exactly.
smart.
And like you said, the education side, we use it a lot on our retail side too, because one of the things we like to focus is not just selling. Anybody can sell a roof, but selling the right roof for the right client, right? If the house has bad ventilation, show them, explain it to them, educate them. What is ventilation for a roof? What it needs to have. What is the 50-50 balance in your attic? What are the different types of vents? Maybe they can go with the more upgraded vent because they see the value in that. Or these little things, it really does create the wow factor, but it lands you as the professional. It lands you as you are the go-to once you educate them.
Yeah, it definitely establishes that trust factor, and
Yep.
establishes your, like we joke and we call it street cred, right? That you know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. You know what I mean? But that's what it is. Really, it's your
Yeah. Yeah.
credibility, and that goes a long way, right? Because if I feel comfortable with you as the homeowner, I'm more likely
Yeah.
to recommend you. I'm more likely to come back to you in the future for other work. If I need something else done or a repair or something like
Right.
that, I'm gonna remember the guy who taught me a little bit about it and gave me a little bit better
Exactly.
understanding. So,
And
what have
we're a
you
little
found?
bit different, and because we don't just do roofing, we do a little bit of other services.
Oh,
So
okay,
that gets
nice.
us kind of like a little push. Once we finish a roof, maybe later on to say, okay, maybe we're ready to do a fence, right? Or we're ready to do some siding work. So that creates that relationship. We follow up with great communication. And we just established that trust, like you said.
Now, is that something that you guys decided to do from day one to offer those other
Oh,
services?
yes.
Nice,
Yes,
interesting.
absolutely.
Yeah, I
Day
think this,
one. And I
what
go
was
ahead.
the deciding factor there? Like, what was the reason that you decided to have all of those
So
options?
it's funny because I learned this in Las Vegas at IRE, mostly because in order to do an insurance claim, you're not just going to rule a roof. Most of the time, there's something else that goes wrong, right? So there's something else that goes wrong with a person's roof and their roof claim and their insurance claim. So right now, Houston, the biggest thing that's gone awry is everyone's fences.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
that affects a tree that fell on the fence, but it also fell on the roof, right? So we can do a little bit of everything. And being that we're in a market where there's so many people, so many great trades, great labor, we can build that into our system. I think it's a geographical decision. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, it's smart, and I think that I have this conversation with a lot of new roofers, and there's kind of like two schools of thought. Right? Like some people today, like, oh, I'm just going to focus on the roof because that's what I know best. But I
Mm-hmm.
think in a case like yours, it comes down to, and I think it was Amanda Vinot who was one of our roofer of the months, I think May, and like she said, it's great to diversify and add those other things as long as you are comfortable, like as long as you have the understanding of them, and like obviously
Right.
you have the crew
Correct.
for it, you're able
Right.
to do the job, like you're not selling something that you guys aren't able to produce
Correct.
well and have a good
Right.
understanding of. So and the market demands it, right? Like your market
Right.
is calling for that. So it's a smart decision, I think, to diversify early on if you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody can, but if you have the ability to
Right.
do it, I think it definitely opens you up to more work, and you definitely can upsell some jobs and things like that because of that. This extra
And I
services.
think too, it's building our database, right? Building our digital infrastructure. That goes a long way. Later on, we can send email campaign, right? Storms coming, what to do, how else to educate it. Maybe a client came in on a fence repair, but later on they need a roof repair, right?
Right.
It's a way for us to juggle a little bit more of these works and turn them from opportunities to a closure.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah. We often talk about the ability to offer multiple options or other services like that
Mm-hmm.
is not only an opportunity to potentially win that customer and close a
Uh-huh.
job with the higher dollar amount,
Oh
higher
yeah.
profit margin. But like you said, it plants the seed. Like I might not be ready for a fence right now, but you quoted me a fence because you're already here quoting me my
Right.
roof. And now 6 months from now, when I need a fence, I already have a quote from you and I can come back. So you're essentially selling
Exactly.
ahead of time. Like you said, you're building that database, you're planting that seed with the customer. They know
Right.
now that I can come back to you, and you've built that
Exactly.
trust and relationship. So it's
Yep.
easy for me as a customer to circle back to you again for another service.
And I will say too, roofers made it easier in a sense where I can pull it already on my proposal. So I'm doing a roof replacement, right? Let's say it's an optional upgrade, but I already have it there where they can go and get new gutters, right?
Right.
It's already there. So I'm going from maybe a $10,000 to a $12,000 sale, right? Little upgrades here and there. That gets us a little bit better when it comes to clients' understanding of Salus.
Yeah.
We can do a little bit of everything, so they love that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And that way it establishes, like we said, we talked about that street cred, right? Like it establishes you guys as like
Mhm.
the subject matter expert, right? Like you guys are the in-house expert
Right.
they can look to, knowing that you guys can do more than just the roof. So
Yeah.
uh,
And I
smart.
think too in the beginning I had that idea, and that's why I didn't pull the name of Salus Roofing, right? It's Salus Exteriors for a reason.
Right.
We do not just roofing, we do a little bit of everything else.
Smart. Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
that's smart. Then you don't have to pivot later on. What
Exactly.
so you guys have been in business now since the beginning of the year. What have you seen be probably your biggest challenge for the company as a whole?
Biggest challenge, I would say, there are a few. I think the biggest one would be sales retention. There are so many great apps, and it does take time to learn them, right? But once you learn them, they're so useful. But sometimes people they just want to start making money right away, and like every job or every part of a job, you need training.
Yeah.
And big guys can say, okay, they have the big pockets to do that, right? To maintain. some of their sales staff, and that's one of the biggest impediments right now for us is maintaining that trust. That give them a couple months, and you'll see the results.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what?
And I say that because there's been just so much demand for Salus, or so much demand for our services, that even though we do train, they're having to, instead of just door knocking, we already have a bunch of filled slots for free roof inspections, right? So that's given us a rollback of, okay, we're still a little bit backed up on our inspections because we don't have that enough coverage.
Right.
That's a good, I guess that's a good problem.
A good problem to have, yeah.
Right?
But hopefully it's one you can solve, right? Hopefully something you can figure
right, right,
out. Yeah.
right.
What have you guys used as far as technology to get up and running? Like, are there some
Oh,
specific
wow.
things that you couldn't live without, you think?
Aside from Roofr, I think without Roofr, I wouldn't be at the place that I'm at such a short time. I think Roofr and the ability to collaborate with other apps like CompanyCam. I'm a big believer in CompanyCam. I have studied CompanyCam so much that I teach my guys, and I work with public adjusters too, and they love me for this. They love me for this. I'm also part of Latinos in Roofing here in Houston, and I go around and show them why they need Roofr, why they need CompanyCam, and the collaboration you can do between both of them in your CRM and use it for proposals. Without those two, I think I wouldn't have grown as fast as I have.
Nice. Now, you're using, so
Yeah,
you're
I
writing your proposals and everything through Roofr?
Oh yeah, proposals to
Nice.
Roofr. It's amazing. I have a great way of doing it where they can learn about our manufacturer, learn about the products that they offer, the warranty that they offer, learn about us. It takes a little bit of creativity, right? You guys can't give that to us. You give us the infrastructure for us to be creative and use it to our advantage. And I love that. I love that you guys are able to have all these great features on the proposal side. PDFs. You're talking about something that the majority of my competition are not giving to their prospects when giving them a proposal. A PDF about the shingle that they're choosing to install, or a PDF about ourselves, right? Our value proposition, our why Salus. These things may be little, but they're so useful. They're so great. And on our proposals, they may not be the shortest, right? They're about 25 pages, a good proposal for our roof replacement with different shingles to choose from, good, better, best, a little information about us, FAQs, what to expect, some different steps. We go very detailed, and that goes without saying that communication is the biggest thing, as well as being able to sell. But communication is part of trust, and that's how we gain the trust with our customers.
And I think one thing that's overlooked is, I think traditionally in this industry, the proposal was just that. It was like the contract, right? So everybody thought like, hey, a couple pages, I got this is the price, this is my terms and conditions, sign here, right? And it's evolved over time to like what you just said is more of a presentation, right? Like that's essentially, you're presenting everything, right? You're presenting your manufacturer, you're presenting yourself, the actual contract, it's all in there. So it's definitely, the proposal as a whole has evolved in this industry. And like you said, the guys who are still doing it, looking at it from that, it's just a contract point of view, you've got a leg up now because you have all this information in there that they don't have. And yeah, you might have more pages, but that's because you have everything in there. Like you have your whole presentation in that package.
In this day and era, the customer has so much information at their disposal, right? Even just Google it or whatever, YouTube, they see and educate themselves before they come to us. So it gives us a chance to educate them in product knowledge, warranty knowledge, and how we do things, the steps that are required. We go very detailed so they understand or have an expectation when the time comes to do their roof.
Love it. So what is the future hold here for Salus? What does the next couple of years look like for you guys?
So we do have a very strong 3-year to 5-year plan. hopefully everything goes the same way we're working and even better. We're able to hire more people. Next year, start a small commercial division. That's what we want to, hopefully by this time, we'll have that commercial side where it can put us to the next step, right? I think everybody, once they start learning the roofing industry, they want to be in the commercial side. They want to be part of bigger jobs. They want to be able to do commercial new construction, commercial retail, because it's a great next step. So that'll be coming hopefully by this time next year.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah. And then, like I said, in October around there, we will be utilizing our staff and our knowledge so we can start some new construction jobs in the single family market. And I want to say by 2026, hopefully be in Austin, be in San Antonio. I don't think Dallas yet, but maybe we'll get there.
Cool. Well, man, awesome. It sounds like you guys got some big plans and a lot going on over there. So really want to thank you for joining me today, Juan, and just kind of
Thanks,
giving
Pete.
us the lowdown on the business there and what you guys got going on. And we're really excited to have you as the Roofer of the Month for August. So
I
thanks a lot.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, congrats on that and keep it rolling, man. You guys sounds like you guys got a lot of good stuff going on over there.
Right.
And a lot of big plans for the future. So happy. I'm glad that we were able to be along for the ride here at Roofr and be able to see your success. So
I appreciate you guys' work.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. And so thank everybody else for listening. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Roofr Report. Thanks, Juan.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening. Check us out next time on the Roofr Podcast. But until then, be sure to like us, subscribe to us, and check out all our other episodes on YouTube and Spotify.